God.
Just like
Hey,
that.
listen, we live. Y'all have no idea what we went through for this, bro. Y'all have absolutely zero idea what we went to try and get this goddamn show off. I don't even know if we live right now. Are we live? Like, in theory, we are technically live on YouTube right now. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us. Although it doesn't say that we're live in. Oh, no, now it does. Okay, I was about to say I'm about to take somebody out. We not. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. In theory, the Daily Show is back.
In theory.
In theory, everything communism works. Y'all let us know if everybody sounds good, if everybody looks good, all of that, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. We don't even have an intro because it took us so goddamn long to get up on this live stream. Hey, listen.
Like, hey, just do it.
I'm so tired. Hey, man, Bulls got a big win last night, man. I thought that was worth bringing to the first episode of the Daily Show. Being back, man. Bulls got a big win last night, man. I thought it was an interesting game. Got down 23 early and then found a way to fight their way back into it and end up winning. 128-107. So the question for the panel today, man. By the way, pettiest man alive, Mr. P Kid to my left here, and then Stefan Adon to the right. Y'all already know what it is. Question for the panel today: was this an actual turning point? Not in the Chicago Bulls season, because at the end of the day, Bulls season is probably done, right? Like, it's probably we're gonna get a play-in, maybe make a playoff, maybe we compete a little bit in a playoff, and then hope for the best, right? Prepare for the worst, keep praying for the best. But was last night a turning point in the Bulls as a whole, realizing, hey, we actually have some pieces on this team that if they're put in the right position, i.e. Alex Caruso not playing power forward, i.e. Coby White actually getting an opportunity to have the ball in his hand, if they're put in the right position, they actually can be productive, turning defense into offense, and we need to add around that. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. For me, I'm just looking at it like me personally, I don't, because I look at the season in totality or up until this point, and they haven't really to us consistently stepped up. I mean, you talked about it. They look like they need more bench scoring. They need more help off the bench. Io hasn't really contributed a lick. This season, you look at what P. Will's done. P. Will's been up and down. Same thing with Coby. I look at the stats right here. I mean, from yesterday's game, I mean, Zach did what Zach does. DeMar's doing what he usually does, even though it was kind of considered an off game. I'm looking at it right now. Coby White, and Patrick Williams, to be honest, have to be the key for them to even. I mean, because now they're pretty much going to be locked into a play-in spot. Are they going to be able to step up and win that play-in game? And two, even if they get past that play-in game, like what's that going to look like? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, are those two going to step up enough for the Bulls to actually make some noise? Because yesterday in the second half, I mean, they had 9 steals. Like they legitimately did everything defensively to show you, like, yeah, we're a top rated defensive team, and this is what it looks like when everything is clicking. It really just comes down to me to Coby White and Patrick Williams, but I don't know if I can get them to translate these types of games when it really matters, because you really only got 4 games left now.
Well, that's what I mean, right? I don't think it does anything for this season. It just doesn't. But what I think the one interesting thing was I saw the Bulls play good defense in the first half of that game. There were a lot of wide open threes. Now that part, right, irritated my soul. But I saw the Bulls play. I saw the Bulls play good defense in the first half of that game. The thing that would happen though is, right, like Patrick Williams comes down, really solid defensive play on the one side, and then it goes down to Pat Bev in the corner for a wide open three that he misses. and then they come down and knock down a three. Or you go down and, Patrick Bev gets a big steal for the Chicago Bulls, push it ahead up to DeMar DeRozan, who ends up taking a contested mid-range shot that doesn't end up falling. I think what we're seeing from the Chicago Bulls here more times this season than not is the inability with the team, the style of team that we have, with the style of play that we have, to not turn defense into offense, which in the second half, you talked about the 9 turnovers, right? That's what happened. In the second half, literally, it was just like, hey, I got the ball, boom. All right, we putting it over here, knocking down a shot. Oh, snap. Coby White can play basketball? Like, hold on, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Right? Like, we continued to see that in the second half. And I think, to me, right, like, that's why maybe not a turning point as far as this season. I think that I think AK thinks this season is done, if I'm being 100% honest. But I think a turning part as far as maybe mindset going into your offseason, mindset going into, okay, these are pieces that we actually need to go out and get, not supplementary pieces, right? Not Goran Dragic, who shoots this percentage from everywhere on the court. And even though he's 39 and a half years old, right, like he's got to be our star piece for $2 million, right? Like going out and getting actual players. What'd you see last night, kid?
I look at it differently. I'll be honest with you. The only thing that I see, and we've seen this over the last couple of games, which is actually what I've been looking at, the Bulls have shot well from the field. We just shoot poorly from 3.
Yeah.
And so when I look at it, and I look at what we've done really, really well over these last, we have a winning record since the All-Star break, which is saying a lot, considering that we rolled into All-Star break with a lot of question marks. So let's have a winning record with 7 of the last 10. Won 7 of the last 10. And against teams that we thought we'd get smoked by. Like, realistically, I saw early on in this Memphis and Bulls game, which I had to watch when I watched it back, I saw Alex Caruso guarding Ja Morant. I was like, Ja is about to cook him.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a couple, but he really didn't cook him. And so it made me think, it was like, okay, we know what we are defensively. What is the real issue here? What do you think, just off the top of your head, what do you think the Bulls shot from the field last night?
I don't know what they shot from the field. I know what they shot.
What
was
it? It was like 54% from the field last night, wasn't it? Something like that.
Y'all looked at the last couple of games? We've been shooting well from the field.
Yeah.
We can't hit a 3 to save our lives.
Well, and that goes into it as well, right? Like that all goes into it, being able to knock down a 3, and actually being able to have an offense that is not 2 for 3, or we got to go get a 3 by getting an and 1 here.
Absolutely. And so when I look at what we're missing and things of that nature, I always look at what is the league catered to now? What is the league really taking a lot of? We all know the 3-point shot has evolved. It's actually the great equalizer when it comes to how the game of basketball is played right now. And realistically, that's the one thing we struggle with. We don't have legitimate knockdown shooters on our roster. And that's the only thing. And so it becomes a question. This is why I made that particular video. Is this something that Billy can adjust with his coaching? Like, is there really knockdown shooters on this team? No, not really. Not off the bench. This is more roster construction. But if you really ask me if we would be a threat and make some noise in the play-in, I think we could. Now, here's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't want us to face the Bucks if we get through the play-in. Because if we play the Bucks, we're gonna get smoked. It just is what it is. We don't match up well with
you really ain't got a choice. That's the tough part. You got Bucks or Boston. Pick your poison. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But here's the thing: we can handle Boston a little better because they don't have a freak of nature that just storms through the paint.
Yeah.
We can match up with them a lot better than we could with the Bucks. The Bucks are just way too big for us, and that's matchups matter, and we match up way better with the Celtics. I'm not saying we're going to win. I'm not saying that I think we can get 2 games and 2, 3, maybe even 3 games against Boston. I don't think we get 2 games against Bucks.
I think if realistically to me, if they played Boston, I think you get 1. If you play Bucks, I think you don't get anything.
I think if we're being 100% honest about it, right? Like, and it's like I said, this season's done. Like the playoffs might be a competitive team in the playoffs. That'd be cool to see, wouldn't it? The Bulls go out, they actually fight a little bit in the playoffs, and they show you a little bit more than we thought they. But you're not looking at this season and saying this is a season that to me is going to change the trajectory, or the playoffs is going to change the trajectory of where this team is going to be able to go, how this team is going to be able to compete in the future. What I think that you can take from this is, okay, what pieces can we keep? I'll be honest with you. I looked at last night's game, and that's why I said kind of a turning point is I looked at last night's game and I saw pieces that I felt like the Bulls actually could build around. I haven't said that much this season at all, right? Like, I didn't see that much of anything from Patrick Williams this season that made me feel like, yeah, he's a piece I need to build around. I saw it from Coby White, and we've seen it from Coby White since the All-Star break, that he's really turned himself into a player that can be built around. He's shooting percentages is up to, I think, 47% from the field. I think he's shooting 48% from three, something crazy. He was shooting like 55% from three at one point, right? Like, those are pieces that I'm looking at and I'm saying, okay, I can see that sticking around a little bit. The problem is, right?
Talking about?
Hey, I was gonna say something. I seen his face. I was like,
What
hey.
player we talking about now?
You got to look at since the All-Star break there, kids. Since the All-Star break. You can't just look at for the season. I give it to you, right? He was terrible all season, but even with that, right? Like, I looked at Coby White and how he's improved in one off season, and I've looked at him as a player and said, guess what? He's gotten better defensively. He's gotten better with IQ. He's gotten a better handle. That's a player I don't mind having on my team, waiting for shooting to come. If you can improve on all those things, because you're useful on the court. The problem with so many of these players on this Bulls team and moving forward is, are they going to be useful on the court? How useful are you going to be? How much impact are you going to make? And I'm so sick of hearing, well, you got to run a play for him. I don't got to run plays for Javonte Green. I don't got to run plays for Derrick Jones Jr. I don't got to run plays for Alex Caruso. Those are guys that just come out and make an impact. They step on the court and they say, yeah, okay. And I will say this. I do want to give, because I feel like Austin Rivers, while his podcast be a little wild sometimes, he just be like, hey, all basketball fans that didn't play in the NBA are idiots. Like, that's a dumb take. But I don't know how the NBA goes, but I'm not. You're like, I can tell you how to run a pick and roll. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not an idiot. Like, come on now. But what I will say is, and shout out to Cache being a super fan for 6 months out here. Big love out here. Big love to Cache out here. Big love. What I will say about the Chicago Bulls is that I see, or what I will say about what Austin Rivers said is that, to me, right, like, if you're a role player, if you're in Patrick Williams' situation, I can see why you can't make an impact offensively. You're getting 6-7 shots, and you have to be perfect on every one of them. I can deal with that. Why are you not making an impact defensively? You're supposed to be a defensive clamp. I watch people every night with a right-left cross shake you out of your Nikes. In the second half of last night, I couldn't say that. They put him on Ja Morant. He picked Ja's pocket twice. He got 2 blocks. He made an impact where he could. That's what the Chicago Bulls need with players here. You need guys that are going to make an impact the second they hit the floor.
I mean, I think what it is what everybody has always said, like what some of the stars have said. Like,
he been looking up Coby White numbers this whole time.
Look
at his face. Look at his face.
Is he?
I had to fact check this. I'm like, this man's been trash.
Improving? Nah, but I mean, I think what it comes down to is the fact of you know what. I mean, I've heard Bradley Beal talk about this. I've heard Patrick Beverly talk about this. Like, yo, more times than not, you're not gonna come into the league scoring 30 off rip. Like, it's essentially how you impact the game. And I think legitimately the two pieces, you know that I would keep if it was me was Coby, because one, if he's done this in one off season. Mm-hmm. And if you take the numbers into account after the All-Star break, then that's something that I would look into. But especially with Patrick Williams, if you are gonna say bring a DeMar DeRozan back, you have to make him understand, like, yo, I mean, I it's exactly what you said. Like, I understand you're getting 7 shots. I'm not expecting you to score 20 or 15 or 10 every time, but I at least need you to be a clamp.
The interesting thing is, if you all are really having the conversation as to what this means, I don't think this season is done, and that's the interesting part about this entire thing. This season is. I don't think this season is done. I think that realistically, if you look at who we would be playing, we're going to be in the play-in, right?
Yeah.
Unless we lose all 4 games, and I think the Wizards win all their remaining games, which the chances are slim. But I mean, it is what it is. We're going to be in the play-in. The teams we were playing the play-in, we can absolutely beat.
Yeah.
This season's not over, and so I think that when we go through that, it's like I like the fact that we performed well against the Grizzlies, and that's a big thing considering that they're one of the top teams. It's a big thing.
That last night was a big win, 110%.
But let's not act like this isn't the first time we've been in this situation with these same usual suspects. It has. We've seen our team play well. We saw earlier this season, for some odd reason, I believe it was either Coby White or Ayo just went off. Why? That we've seen it. We've seen some of these same people. It's like a rotation. It's this carousel of mid.
Yeah.
Like one day you
just having a hot month?
Yeah. So it's like I'm for it. I want us to be in a winning situation. I want our players who wear this Bulls jersey to play well. It makes our job easier when they play well.
A lot easier.
Man, listen, y'all don't understand how many times. I don't know how many fifths we've drunk on the live.
At this point, we passed out, bro.
At this point, we need to make our own liquor. At this point, like, so all I'm saying is this: it's like I'm happy for this game, but good Lord, like, nah, I'm not gonna sit there and say play that what if game, because guess what? This is what year 4? This is going into his 5th season
of who?
Coby White.
This would be going into Coby White's 5th season. Yeah.
Everybody seemed to play well when money's on the line.
If they re-sign Coby White, I think this is his 4th. What year is Coby White drafted? 2018.
I know this is his 4th season for sure.
This is 4th season. Yeah, he'll be going into his 5th season.
Everybody seemed to play well when it's time to get their money. I'm not really concerned about that part. I'm concerned about how you're going to consistently play after the money is signed.
Yeah.
And so I don't have enough to bank off of that. I don't have enough consistency for me to bank off that. With Patrick Williams, I have to admit this. Patrick Williams is not what I expected from a number 4 overall pick.
Yeah.
But he's definitely looked better.
Oh, yeah.
The jump shot is falling.
No,
like,
the jump shot, he's more confident with the shot.
Yeah. My issue with P. Will is more of a
and he didn't have an off season because his hand was broken. Am I wrong?
No, he had an off season. He was out there with DeMar.
He's out there with DeMar.
He was out there with DeMar.
Okay.
No, my issue with P. Will is more so make an impact where you can.
Facts.
Right? Like I don't have an issue. Like everybody, I will say this, right? A lot of NBA fans in the modern NBA, their big thing is score the basketball. You have to be a scorer. If you're not a scorer, I don't think you're a good player. He's not able to go out there and get 20. He's the 4th pick in the draft. He's not able to go out there and get 20. Scoring is not going to happen for Patrick Williams in the situation he's in right now. He's at best the 5th option on this team now, coming off the bench, right, offensively, especially with Coby White getting more to shine with the basketball in his hand, having the ability to actually bring the ball up the court, run whatever he wants to run, even if the coach doesn't believe that it's the right play to run. Coby could just be like, nah, I'm going to just take this to the bucket because my man opened up, right? Like, so there's an opportunity more for Coby to be able to go out there and score, and I think the big part about it with this whole team is, if I'm looking at Patrick Williams, I understand that about you. Mm-hmm. So what can you do that gets me hype about your game? Guess what? I'm hype about what I see. I mean, DJJ literally doesn't play halves of games.
I told you.
He doesn't play halves of games. And Billy Donovan puts him in the game. And he's in there 2 minutes, and I'm like, oh, DJJ's in. Patrick Williams played 11 minutes yesterday in the first half. I forgot he was on the court. And that's all I'm saying. I love how he's played in moments as of recent, but very much like you've said, we've had those guys, right? Lowry had a hot month. Nikola Vucevic had a hot month. Coby White has had multiple hot months, right? Like, show me that on a consistent basis. I think that goes all the way up to, right? Listen, Billy Donovan's had a hot month coaching sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it goes all the way up. AK's had a hot offseason. You know what I mean? Like it goes to the entire story of this team. And so to me, I just want to see consistency. I'm not asking for a lot. Show me consistency as something. I don't care if you scored a basketball consistently. That goes for Coby, Zach. I was the only person when everybody was like, Zach LaVine's got to do more. I'm like, he's facilitating. He's playing defense better. He's the best on-ball defender that it looks like we have on the court, which is probably a problem. And then it seems like until the last 2 minutes of a game, he's got better IQ. The last 2 minutes be rough. We got to work on that. That's another offseason. I'm like, but if you're doing all of those things, I can sit there and be like, I know Zach LaVine could put up 28. If you're doing none of those things and you're not putting up 28, now we don't got a leg to stand on.
And I think the biggest thing, and it's kind of weird to me, like it's something that you said, right? Because everybody's like, oh, people's got to score, people's got to score, people's got to score. But then, like, if you go out and then you see somebody from another team playing, like, I'll give a perfect example, like PJ Tucker. Like PJ Tucker right now, he's dropping 20, but at the same time, like, he'll let you know where you gotta be, and come playoff time, he's gonna be the main stopper on Giannis. Like, because at least I know that he's gonna be out there trying to play D or trying to disrupt you in some type of way where he'll be able to get his money. Like that, they paid that man 45 M's, so it's just like
they paid him 45 over. They paid him 45 over, so he's getting paid like 10, 15.
When can we start being honest about this? PJ Tucker really ain't been good since he left.
I'm saying he had that what? He had that one good year in Miami.
PJ Tucker had a year in Miami.
Yeah, like
look. And this is the thing though. This is the thing though. Kind of like they signed him literally to stop Giannis and never saw Giannis.
He's seen Giannis that one time in the regular
season. One game, baby.
That was it.
That one game. Look. Here's my issue. We didn't give PJ Tucker 4 years off of one game where he held Giannis to 16 points. That's how good Giannis is. That's all I'm saying. You know what
I mean? Here's the thing. What do you pay PJ Tucker for?
You said what?
I pay PJ Tucker for defense. I want to see him defense.
Yeah.
You pay him for defense and occasionally one or two of those corner threes. And what does he give you every game?
No, that's what I'm saying. He gives you at least 1 or 2 corner threes.
Nah, but what I'm saying is, has he really been a clamp?
I mean, not now, but I'm saying he
been in Philly 3 years, ain't he?
I've been to that point.
Nah, he been in Philly 1 year.
Nah, he just on the bench now, so you're not.
He on the bench. The thing is, he don't fit the offense. So Philly has a high-powered offense that's surrounded around James, obviously Embiid, and you got Maxey doing their thing, and Tobias. You almost forget Tobias Harris is there, but he's there. But when they need to get some stops or they need to run a defensive lineup, he's their main anchor for that lineup. Like, he's a person that you put on that star player so Embiid doesn't pick up a bunch of unnecessary fouls.
I will say that he's a solid 5 fouls.
There you go. Guess what? That's worth whatever you need to keep Embiid on the floor and to make sure that you don't continually lose these big leads, which Doc Rivers seems to have a huge. Like, if there's a trophy for losing big leads, I think Doc Rivers' name should be the trophy. The Doc River Award for blowing.
Y'all know where I'm at with it.
He said he heading to Proviso next year to coach.
He might as well.
Hey man, we appreciate you guys for rocking with us, man. We do got a couple of more things we want to get on to. Fam, y'all have no idea how hard it was just getting on live today, bro. So we appreciate y'all for real for rocking with us. I see 67 people up in this mug, man. Hit that like button if you haven't done so. But we do we got first off, we got sponsors in this mug again, man. We got sponsors in this mug, and I know y'all think, right, this just nice little black jacket. We just doing something simple out here, man. But I'm telling y'all, if you're looking for high quality merch to wear to watch the Bears or Bulls in, Goat Coats have you covered. You want to know why? Because they provide this stylish look that keeps things simple for going out to eat before or after a game. But here's the thing. They capture that Chicago fandom on the inside. Are you kidding me right now? Hold on. Let me flip this real quick. Let me flip this real quick, bro. I need y'all to see what's really going on the inside here. Yeah, I mean,
Move.
Crazy right now. Goat Coats capturing that Chicago fandom. They provide that sports fan feel on the inside of their premium bomber jackets. And here's the best part. For a limited time, you can use the promo code Windy City to receive 5% off your first purchase of a single item, or Windy City 2 to save 15% on any order of 2 items or more. Again, that is 5% with the promo code Windy City. 15% with the promo code Windy City and the number 2. Don't wait. Visit goatcoats.com today and discover why we here at The Breeze believe this is Chicago merch for Chicago fans.
Boom.
This jacket crazy, bro. This jacket is crazy, bro. I need y'all to really get on that. Goatcoats.com, bro. So, as we move along, boys, I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like Adam Silver has finally done something and gotten a deal done, along with the NBA, PA, and everybody involved in that. What is it? CJ McCollum. It's not Chris Paul no more. CJ McCollum. I believe it's is it Marcus Smart? No, Jaylen Brown.
No,
right?
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Want to give credit to all of them for what they have done, in my opinion, to actually improve the game of basketball. We got a new CBA, boys. When we thought we were heading for a lockout, I'm not going to lie, I really thought we were heading for a lockout this offseason, especially with, or I should say, no, it would have been this offseason, right? Especially with how much we've seen players literally just go, I don't want to be here no more, and just take their money and run. Ben Simmons. I feel like this NBA CBA might be one of the best that we've seen for getting the game of basketball on track. Some of the big points that come out of it: players must play at least 65 games to be eligible for major individual league awards such as MVP, which is, we'll get into that, why I feel like that's so big. Prize money for the championship team of the NBA's in-season tournament beginning in 2023-2024 will be $500,000 per player, which to me is
it's a lot of bread.
It's a lot of bread, but it's like, is it enough? I feel like it's enough for the other guys. Is it enough for Zach LaVine?
You have to keep in mind, but everyone's not a max player.
That's true. Right? That's what I'm saying.
So you got to think about it. The majority of the league doesn't make over $20 million a year.
This is true.
They make a lot lower. And you break that down, you're talking about several game checks.
Yeah.
For them, right? And how that breaks down. And then you got to think about going 1 through 15 or whatever, however many is on your particular roster. Like, that is significant bread for everyone to be like, all right, let me go get this. Like,
yeah. I'm not mad at that. Some of the other things: NBA players will no longer be penalized for using marijuana under the agreement as it has been removed from the drug testing program, which I thought that happened already. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, how openly players, like Kevin Durant has talked about smoking weed on multiple podcasts in season.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
And plus, he was in a state where it wasn't illegal initially.
I didn't know that we were penalizing them for it anymore. Like, I've heard so many players talk about it. And then veteran extensions, but that is big. That is big in the game of sports as a whole. That is big. Veteran extension limits will increase from 120% to 140%, which will add flexibility and have significant effects quickly. Under the current CBA, teams and players can only increase player's salary by 120% in the first new year of the extension, unless that player qualifies as a designated player, rookie, or makes well below league average salary. So a bit more of an ability to re-sign your own players and keep your own guys in the cities that they have started in. What do y'all think about the new CBA, boys?
Love the new CBA. Love it. I also love the fact that they're also penalizing teams for still trying to kick that can down the road. So, the Clippers can't do what the Clippers have been doing. Like, if under the new CBA, the Clippers cannot and would not have been as loaded as they are now. And if you really look at what the Clippers have been doing, you got to think about it. They've had so many different lineups throughout the season. They still have a above 500 record, I believe. Yeah, they still have above 500 record That's only possible because of the amount of talent they were able to sign and things of that nature. They have legit starters on their bench. Norman Powell is on their bench. He's a starter.
They signed a bunch of guys during the trade deadline, or traded for a bunch of guys during the trade deadline.
They would not have been able to do that.
That's wild.
Now, one thing it does mess up is the simple fact that Golden State and the way they've been managing their team, that's going to mess up how they do things. So you're going to see some shakeups there. But on the flip side, seeing the increase from the 120 to 140, it does mean that you get to maintain. So, I mean, I hate to say this, but like the Celtics get to make a good run at keeping Jaylen Brown and making sure he gets paid handsomely under that new CBA. Before then, it was a good chance he's probably walk, and he still may walk. Don't get me wrong.
Bruh, listen, he need to walk. They don't love you no more.
Yeah, and then I was gonna say
he need to walk. He's in every trade. Hey, listen, we trying to get a water boy from the from baseball. Could we include Jaylen Brown in a first to get that water boy over from the White Sox?
Listen, no, he was involved in some really good trade rumors.
Fam, he has been involved in some really good trade rumors, but he's involved in every trade rumor, bro. Like any player that is just like, but you know what it is? I feel like they involve him in any trade rumor for a player that's different.
Different than Jason.
That's all it is. It's just different. Like I just want somebody different than not different than Jason Tatum either, because they were like Kevin Durant, Jaylen Brown. Now, granted, to get that deal done, Jaylen Brown makes sense. You have to have Jaylen Brown in that deal to get that deal done. It's just hilarious, bro. I swear, every trade deal, there's a trade right now happening where they're trying to literally trade mascots out here. Jaylen Brown and a first might be included in that. They're trying to send this man to Ireland, bro.
What you mean? They'll give you John Collins and a free haircut. And ATL, hey, bro. Hey, let's not forget about John.
We'll give you John Collins and a taper fade down here, bro. What you need? And some wings.
John Collins, a taper fade, and a trip to Magic City.
The funny thing about it is, though, like I know that these different rules. One, it makes it more competitive.
Yeah,
you're no longer building the super teams of old, so it makes it more competitive from that standpoint. Two, if we actually, the Bulls, the one thing I like about AK is he's willing to take a risk, right? Maybe sometimes a little slower than I would like, but he's willing to take a risk. He can go out there and get another player to make our big three, or however you want to structure it. Or let's just say Patrick Williams evolves into this heck of a player, right? This new CBA allows us to keep that type of talent with Zach and things of that nature. And so I like that from that perspective. It's all about parity and everything like that. So Adam Silver's claim to fame and the mark that he's going to make in the history of the league is the simple fact that he brought parity back to the league. And that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, because when I first heard about this specific rule, and then they came out, and you kind of look at the contracts, like Evan Mobley's up for an extension, and you already got Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland signed already. So just keeping that three together alone, that's gonna solidify the Cavs for probably the next for 45 seasons, or at least 3 max.
What do we think about the at least 65 games to be eligible for league awards? I think me and Kid actually said. Me and Kid, when we said it, right, I think the original number they were talking about was 70. And I was like, they're never gonna do that. Plus, 65 games means you missed 17 games in a season. That allows for everything outside of major injury, right? Any small nagging injuries usually will keep you out for a couple of weeks. That's usually about 6 to 8 games in that. So you're talking about 2 weeks, right? On maybe a rolled ankle, you'll miss 6 games, something like that, right? Like you're still eligible for the small nagging things. But listen, we got guys out here winning MVPs that and not really. I don't know about MVP as much. I'm not gonna lie to you. MVP, we really haven't had a guy that had an MVP that
all NBA selections.
The all NBA selections is going to be a major one, and I'm not gonna lie to you, right?
I think positionless too.
It just changes the conversation of
positionless too now.
Yeah, but all NBA is positionless, which
it's another big change.
I kind of like, but I don't like. I'm not gonna lie to you, because the whole point of the all NBA is you're the best in the NBA at your position. You're the best at, like, I get you're not the best player, but you're the best in the NBA at your position. So I'm sorry that Michael Jordan like ruined an entire decade of shooting guards getting awards, but he's Michael freaking Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we really going to be that upset if LeBron James is the all-NBA small forward until somebody else just takes over, or if Kevin Durant or if Jason Tatum is the all-NBA small forward, right? Like, are we really going to be that upset? Like, maybe you could say it's a little bit closer, but I don't even like that in the All-Star game. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. You know, I have to give you like just a slight pushback on one thing.
Steph's gone. Where the heck's Steph go?
I got to give you like a slight pushback on one thing, on the simple fact that when you look at it, like let's take the example you use when Michael Jordan was winning all those awards.
Welcome back.
Bro, okay.
Go ahead.
When Michael Jordan was winning all those awards, it was very situational. I mean, it was very position-based basketball. It was a system. Hey, your shooting guards shoot. That's what they do. And I don't know why people made it like, oh, they're ball. No, that was the name of the position. It's called that for a reason. That's what he did, and he did it well, right? But now you have such positionless play, period, that it makes sense to remove that from these particular awards, because I mean, if you really base it off there, like, who's the best power forward in the league?
I guess in my mind, the first name that popped up was Anthony Davis, but he plays center.
The first name for me popped up was Giannis.
Yeah, I was gonna say Giannis.
Hands down, it's Giannis.
It's Giannis. Yeah, well, yeah. I'd be forgetting that Giannis came in as a small forward, so in my mind, he's still a small forward. But yeah, that's true. He is a power forward,
right? But does that mean that Jokic shouldn't be all NBA?
Jokic
back in the day, you could only have one or two.
Jokic ain't the 5 on that, or ain't the 4 on that team. No, Jokic wouldn't take away from
Jokic would be the 5. So like, let's go to the 5. Who's the best big in the NBA?
Jokic.
Joel Embiid, probably.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
I would say Joel Embiid.
Yes,
yes. Now I know it's conference based and stuff like that, but you get it. Like, if they played in the same conference, you only picking one back in the day.
Yeah, then
right, and that's not necessarily like, that's not legit. Like, come on, it's a lot of parity. Like, who's the best 2 guard in the league? That's up. Now
that one is up for grabs. That one is up for grabs. So, I give you that. Best like, 2 guard in the league is
2 guard in the East. Right, you
probably Jaylen Brown, because a lot of people left the East. Probably Jaylen Brown right now.
Is Donovan Mitchell considered a 2?
Donovan
Mitchell's considered a 2, then Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. Is Zach not in that conversation?
Zach is definitely in that conversation.
Zach is in that conversation.
Like so making it positionless in this case is like, hey, if you play him at the 1, like Donovan at the 1, which I think he does play a lot of point, he should get that nod. But I mean, the point of it all is the league has changed.
Yeah.
And so how you award these players needs to change. Now, is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. There's no perfect, there's no secret sauce to this, right? Like there's someone's going to get scrubbed. Someone's going to get be a scrub. Somebody's going to be you know what I'm trying to say. Somebody's going to get left out. Somebody's going
to get left out.
And so it's like, hey, you're going to have that 1 or 2 players that's always going to be a snub, is what I'm saying. Snub. That's what is going to happen. So, but I like the fact that he's trying. He's trying to do something, right?
I do like that. I love that. I love that. And I think the main thing, by the way, like the video if you're in here right now, man. I appreciate you guys for showing love. I think the main thing that changes is that the fan is. This is you telling your fans that they're important.
Right.
Because to me, now players won't sit out. Right? Like all those things that they were sitting out for. That go kid. I don't know what the heck happened there. Yeah, all those things that they were sitting out for. Right? Like now those players won't sit out. Because they're going to have a situation where I can't sit out, because if I sit out, I'm not going to get my award. I can't sit out because if I sit out, I'm not going to be mentioned among the greatest of all time. I can't sit out because welcome back. I can't sit out because if I sit out, I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't sit out because if I sit out, I'm now not going to be mentioned among the LeBron Jameses, the Michael Jordan. There are people that legacies are going to be made by this. But you know what? I think it's a twofold thing. The one point I want to point out, I love that the NBA is saying fans want to see these guys. Fans are paying money to come see these guys. Fans are doing this. and they are important. So you have to have a better product for the fan. And I know people are saying, well, we're not playing the game for the fan. Yes, you are. The fan spends the money. That's how you get your owners paid. That's how your owners then pay for your stadium, which makes more money, which then also gets you paid, right? Like that's how you continue to make money. The fan has to be there. It's a reason why when fans stop coming to games, teams be like, hey, we might have to fire some people. We might have to change people's lives to try and put a product on the court that's winning basketball games, right? So it is about the fans. So I do appreciate that. I think the other thing is too, though, that it's sad that it had to get to this. There was a time when players took pride in playing the game. There was a time when teams took pride. I don't want to put this all on the players as well. When teams took pride in putting the best players on the floor, because I don't think this is just for the player. I think this is for the teams as well, because we heard JJ talk about it, right? How many times are you going to a player in a season, right? How many times you going to Kawhi Leonard and saying, hey, Kawhi, yeah, you can't play tonight. Why can't I play tonight? Because you played 2 games in a row and we're scared you're going to break. So I want to play tonight. You know, how many times are you doing that in a season? How many times are you going to the player and forcing them to sit in a game that is important to them, right? Like how many times, right? Like everybody had flack for Embiid. Do we know for 110% that Embiid wanted to sit out that game versus Jokic? Do we know 100, right? Like, and so to me, I think that this is not only just a protection for the Chicago or for the players that are on the court, but it's also a protection for the teams to say, listen, you can fight it out with y'all agents because you didn't let him play enough games to win an MVP.
I think the biggest thing too is like CJ said it when he was on First Take. I think for the I'm gonna say probably I want to say put a percentage on it. 65% of the guys in the league. It's not that they don't want to play certain games. It's the fact that they got these designated rest days built in to the point like, okay, even though we know that you got a game against Dame and Mug just gonna want to see that, I don't want you playing. Like, I feel like now more so than ever, you're gonna see these guys step up because they want to play, and like you said, legacies are on the line, so they want to be mentioned with those greats. The other thing too is I think that this is kind of a W on Adam Silver's end because, like you said again, fans at minimum, you may at least go to what 2? Kia, how many Bulls games have you been to this year? 2. Like if Zach don't play. Then if Zach or DeMar don't play, then what? So it's just like you stepping up now. You doing this for the fans. So it's like, okay, now at majority, especially if I'm an East team and my favorite player is in the West, or I know LeBron's coming to town. I know at least at minimum LeBron should be playing at like this late game later on in the season. So. You know what I'm saying? Because the fans are spending their hard-earned money to go to these games and you're not playing. It's just like, what's the purpose of me being here?
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm with you, man. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button. Kid, you was going to say something?
Yeah, I want to ask Cynthia to ask because we've talked a lot about the contracts and stuff like that. But let's really talk about this play-in tournament. Have we all wrapped our minds around what this mid-season tournament does? I know we talked about the money aspect of it.
That's just how I feel about it. It's just like, ew. I think you need to have this. I don't like it, but that's me being a person who's watched the NBA a long time. I don't like it, but I do believe you need to have it.
So this is the caveat. The in-season tournament could arrive as soon as next season. The event will pool play games baked into the regular season schedule starting in November, with 8 teams advancing to a single elimination tournament in December. The Final Four will be held at a neutral site. Vegas seems to be the discussion. And these do count. So these games still count towards your record.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting for me because it's one of those things where it's like, I understand that you're keeping the competition high, but if you look at it from the aspect of what this means, the high level of intensity of play that they're expecting, what then happens to the All-Star game a month later?
It's dead, and it should
It's
be
there.
dead, and it should be dead. Like
Right.
it's like the conversation we had. The All-Star game was needed for the times when they had them. When I couldn't turn on my TV at any moment that I wanted to and go watch the best players in the world. That time is now gone. It is time. That's a whole side point. We wasn't even talking about this. It's time to phase out All-Star games because they're not entertaining. The players don't take it seriously, and all we do at the end of every All-Star game is go, well, that was a waste of my time. That was a fun weekend to go to. We drank a lot of alcohol, but that was a waste of my time because the game was lame. Like, if we're being 110% honest about what All-Star games are at this point, I saw Jokic last night. Guess what? I saw Giannis last night too. Guess what? I also saw Jason Tatum last night. I don't need to wait for an All-Star game in the middle of the season to see all my favorite players anymore. So I like the fact that's it. I didn't even bring that aspect of this into it. I think that should replace the All-Star game because that will make it more. That makes that time of year more entertaining, and it's a time of year where you're used to having that break anyway. So you play in a tournament. If you get eliminated, right, you play the rest of your games, whatever it is, and then you get your time off at the end. Just give them the time off. Just give them 2 weeks to rest. We don't need something to talk about. I like having something to talk about. I don't know. It's weird to me because it's like we're trying to hold on to this thing that made sense 30 years ago.
I think you revamp it.
Not even that. 20 years ago, realistically. 20 years ago, I couldn't turn on my TV at any time and watch Kobe Bryant.
No, League Pass and accessibility, internet has changed all of that now.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
I couldn't turn on my TV. The amount of the reason that certain games stick out in our minds so much is because we literally had to be sitting in front of our TV when that game happened to have experienced that game. The Malice in the Palace, I remember exactly where I was when Ron Artest hit that mug, and my Uncle Maurice comes running upstairs, and he was like, yo, they fighting in the stands. They fighting in the stands. 2 beers in his hand. He was double fisting it. But, I remember exactly where I was when T-Mac came back, same spot actually, when T-Mac came back from down 13. Yeah. Like, I remember those moments because we didn't get, like, that was the game that was on that night. You had the Bulls and that.
Legit.
I don't think people remember. I don't think Chicago had the broadcast. I was still able to see it, but Chicago didn't get Kobe's 81 initially.
No, we didn't have it.
We had to replay it.
Chuck Swirsky called it.
We had to
Toronto.
We had to go and look. You have to either stay up real late to see the replay.
Yeah,
that would come on like 3:00 in the morning, or you weren't gonna see it at all.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was historic that they played it all the time afterwards. But I mean, like, that just goes to show you the difference. Like, League Pass changes accessibility, the internet and its accessibility to all these different teams and stuff like that has totally changed. So now you get to watch your favorite teams at any given time. You know, there's a point in time where Ja Morant would not have been on TV.
Oh yeah, because he was in Memphis. You'd have never saw Ja.
You would never.
The amount of times you saw Tony Allen was crazy. Like, you saw him twice a year when he came to play the Bulls. That was it. The one thing I will say as well is that I think that I'm actually selling myself on this in-season tournament now all of a sudden. But I think that when you're talking about the in-season tournament, right, you have to have the conversation of, is this the first step of moving the NBA in the right direction? Is this the first step of moving the NBA forward? Because to me, now you're trying to make it more of a international game, more of a European style game. You're trying to make it more of a, because they already have these in-season tournaments, right? When you go look up stats on a lot of these mugs, you sitting there and you're like, okay, so he played like half a year here, and then it was just a random tournament in the middle of the season. Then he played another half a year here, and these are completely different stats. But then I got to compile these stats together. Like, it make your head hurt trying to figure out how these international players' numbers go together, right? But like, I think that this is a step finally in the right direction. And realistically, they're the first league to really try and take this step. Because in soccer, it was natural. Baseball just is like, we're going to just do it the old way. But even, look at 1 year of change. I've had so many people that literally have just like, I can watch baseball again.
Baseball is fun to watch now.
That's crazy.
I don't like what y'all don't know. I got my teams. If they win, great. I don't watch them. I don't watch them. Like that's you don't hear me talk baseball at all on this show because I don't know it. Because I don't care to. Now I actually care to know it. I care. I want to know. I want to know who the players are. I want to know like all these. Like I want to watch it
because you can.
It's fun for me.
Because you can sit down in front of a TV and finally go, hey, I'm not going to be here till 10 o'clock at night. Legitimately. Me and Brand had this conversation. We said we used to go to baseball games that started at noon and fully expect to be leaving there when it's dark. Like, that was our mindset.
Nah, that's a fact.
Like, that literally was our, and it what, as a kid, it's cool, right? Because it's like I spent all day at the ballpark. But then I became an adult and I was like, this is terrible.
Terrible.
I love baseball. I'm telling you, me and AD are probably the only two people in the world that can sit down and watch a 9-inning baseball game of a pitcher's duel where nobody scores until the bottom of the ninth and be like, that was a great game. That was a great game.
I'm cool with that though, right? I'm cool with watching a pitcher's duel.
I'm cool with that.
You know what I'm not cool with? I'm not cool with the fact that I have to sit there. This is a true story. We were at home watching a Cubs game.
Yeah. My
pops is a huge Cubs fan.
Yeah.
I got up. I made 3 separate drinks. Made myself something to eat. We were still in the top of the inning. Mind you, I'm like, it had gone so slow that I was like, what did I miss? He was like, nothing really. It took me like 20 to 25 minutes to get all this stuff done, dog. Like, no lie. The moment that happened, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be a long day. I can't do this. That's for me, my ADHD, I can't do it. I can't sit there and watch you on this mound for 35 seconds. No, for a couple minutes. Yeah, for this one pitch, I can't do it.
But to me, that's why, right? Like when you look at the NBA now, I think they're taking that step. I think that these changes are kind of this level of a step where we're completely changing what your thought process is on the sport. Like, be honest with you, the in-season tournament, it don't feel right. It feels weird.
It don't feel right, but they need it. They need it.
Like, it literally feels like when you're sitting there talking about the in-season tournament, it literally feels like this is stupid.
I don't think they need it.
You don't think they need it?
I don't think they need it. I think all right, hear me out. I didn't think they needed it simply because one thing that we always complain about is the fact that players didn't play. Well, now that when you tie,
it's the combination.
So like if he would have just simply changed it to like you got to play 65% of your games to be considered for these major awards.
Yeah,
that's enough. That was enough incentive for me simply because, like Zach LaVine doesn't get certain contract extensions and stuff like that based off of not getting certain awards. Like you have real money in futures dependent on those NBA accolades. So if you have to play a certain amount of games to get those accolades, we're gonna be competitive regardless now. Right? Like sincerely, like you're gonna at least be on the floor. And if you're not on the floor and you're not producing when you're on the floor, if you're just like throwing it in, you mailing this one in, that's gonna impact your numbers, which automatically impacts your eligibility to be considered for these awards because now you're playing like trash. You just out there to collect the check. No, it ain't gonna work that way. So that one change for me was like, oh, that's it. You hit people where it hurts. I'm gonna hit you in your pockets. All right, cool. I'm good. I'm gonna play. Like that's how I looked at it. This in-season tournament, I think, is going to be one of those things where that's going to be the Achilles heel of that change, because now I have to play this tournament, which ramps up how we play because these games count. The intensity is expected to be high, so we're talking about playoff atmosphere in December.
Yeah,
with the playoffs still happening in April. What happens if I get injured going hard in this play-in tournament?
But that's my only gripe.
You doubling down
that's
now.
My only gripe.
And I don't know if that's cool because the playoffs ain't changed. The playoffs is not like if you make that change, then you have to make the first 2 rounds of the playoffs back like it was in the 80s.
Yeah,
that's out of 5.
I think you have to incentivize something, and I don't know what are the incentives if you win, right? Because it can't. Here's the thing for me: it can't just be a ring. Even in those overseas tournaments, right? The overseas soccer tournaments, different things like that, or football, if you will, tournaments, right? Football, different things like that.
I could watch that even though they don't score that much.
I can't watch that.
Bro,
Dog, that is
I don't
crazy.
know what
I can't watch that. I don't know why.
But I mess with it.
I'll be
I
glued
can't
to
watch
it. I'd be like, dog, he almost got that one. Like,
I can't watch it, bro. I swear. I'd be sitting there, I'd just be like, what the heck am I looking at? But what I will say is, right, like with those tournaments, a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, the incentive is you automatically make this next tournament. You're automatically into this next. I believe that's how the incentive is. Like literally, you have 2 seasons essentially. So you have your first part of your season, you have that first playoff, and then you have your next part of your season. No matter how you're doing that, you're already in that playoff, but like that next part of your season dictates your seeding and all of that. I think that is something that the NBA would have to do, because why are we really putting a value on just winning a ring for a mid-season tournament? Like this feels like you're sending real players out there to go play summer league games. Like go win a summer league championship.
It feels more like he's just trying to adopt the European style of play,
which is fine, but let's adopt it.
Yeah. So like what I mean by that is it's so foreign to us, but it's so, it's so like so much of a staple or commonplace for the rest of the world.
That's true.
It's going to be weird for us regardless, because we don't. But it's not.
But it won't be weird for the rest of the world. Like literally, the rest of the world is going to be like, this makes perfect sense. What the heck are you Americans talking about?
And so now, guess what that does for
I
the
never thought about that.
Larger brand,
boom,
more money,
boom.
And now you get to see these clubs now become like they're trying to make the NBA. To have that MLS or football money like that, that's what they really want.
Well, MLS money really ain't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey,
the NBA got EPL money. You talk about EPL.
Yeah, you go. They want the Real Madrid type money.
Nobody want no MLS money. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hey, come on, like Ronaldo was making like 141. One of those dudes made like
he's not in the MLS. Ronaldo's still playing in a real soccer league.
Dog, I'm just saying. You get what I'm trying to say here. They're trying to make it like that.
Shout out Zlatanov.
These clubs are kind of paying real money for these players.
He's the only one that's making a bank.
He's the only one I know.
He's the only one.
He's the only one I know. Hey, before we get up out of here, man, we got 4 minutes left in here, man. Quick thoughts on the whole LSU situation last night. LSU ended up winning the national championship. By the way, appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. LSU ends up winning the national championship last night in the women's league. You said what?
You brought the wrong topic up at the end of the show, Pat.
Well, I wanted to get it in before it's not really a topic no more.
This is a clip right here. We gonna clip this part.
Hey, listen, it is what it is. Everybody seems to have a problem with Angel Reese, who did the same thing that Caitlin has done the entire tournament with taunting. Caitlin Clark came out taunting. She's been very disrespectful to her opponents. Disrespectful, right? If that's the word that you want to use. I see it as competitive. I see two women that were competing very hard, and I'm not going to lie to you, very rarely do I jump on this side of the fence with anything. But why are you holding women to a different standard to men when it comes to being competitive? They are competing. They are rivals. Guess what? I hope they both make the WNBA, which they should, and that they play each other for the rest of their careers on opposite teams.
And I want to follow this storyline like a WWE. Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm invested. I'm invested. I really don't get it. I don't understand, and then I don't want to get into the whole racial aspect of it, because it did seem like it was a stark contrast.
Well, here's the thing. We shouldn't be surprised. I'll say this. There are definitely more on Twitter and all the socials in support of what Reese did than in disgust. The thing that I will note is Caitlin does play for Iowa.
Can't clip that part up on LinkedIn, Pat.
Hey,
all right,
whatever. How many brothers you know in Iowa, bro? Like, I'm just saying, bro. Like,
that's not going online.
Everybody black in Iowa was on the football team, bro. Come on now.
I don't understand why we sit there and try to police these women from playing. This, but like, I don't think people understand. Cheryl Miller was a trash talker. Like, people hated Reggie Miller.
Bro,
because of how much trash you talk. Did y'all forget that Shell Miller was a dog? Like, I mean, come on now.
I tell Pat this all the time. It's always funny because they always laugh at Reggie, but Reggie's best comeback is like, you laughing at me like you ain't get this work last week. Like
come on now.
Like hey, it's crazy, man. I just think it was at the end of the day, two women was competing.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark showed out the whole tournament.
And that's the part I don't want to be lost. And I'm gonna let you finish, Steph. I just Kanye'd you a little bit. That's the part I don't want to be lost. We understand Caitlin is a dog.
Caitlin is hurt. Caitlin is hurt.
She is a dog.
Hey, I'm paying money to see her shoot. I'm sorry. I am.
Hey, bro. Hey, listen.
Where's she play at?
I hope it's the sky.
Well, we don't have no picks. We don't have no picks. So
man. But at the end of the day, they definitely both competed. Caitlin's been a dog this whole time. I think she scored 193 points in total with 60 assists, which has basically never been done, I think, in any tournament, men's or women's. But then you come back, you was talking big at LSU, especially with the clip of Caitlin leaving Shorty open before the national championship game. And it was like, yo, we pretty much ain't trying to worry about guarding them. And then you come out and they basically killed you from three. But I mean, hey, this is the spirit of competition. She went up, they talked. Iowa lost. That is what it is.
I really want to know if they got beef. Like, I see the entire internet having beef on this. Like, do they got beef? Or did Caitlin come up after and be like, hey, listen, yeah, you got me on that one. Guess what? I see you at the next one. Bet I take a WNBA championship from. This is so normal. This is not even abnormal in sports. We saw Stephen Curry point to his ring finger with a quarter left in the NBA Finals.
Saw Aaron Donald in the middle of the field after a sack.
Aaron Donald at least had the courtesy to do it after the game-saving sack, though. Stephen Curry had a quarter of basketball to play. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were on the other side, and he looked at him and said,
let's not forget about Al Horford blowing that fatal kiss.
Al Horford blowing a kiss, you know what I mean? Like this is just like I think here's the thing, right? There's two issues I really have with everybody who's got beef with this. These are my two biggest issues. One, y'all ain't been watching.
I ain't been watching.
Why are you jumping in? I'm so sick of seeing these. I think I saw Keith Olbermann jump in on how many WNBA games you watched this year. How many women's college basketball games did you really watch this year? Like, y'all ain't been watching. So now you're jumping in, trying to make it a political thing when it's a sports thing, when it's a college sports thing, when it's a competitive thing. You haven't been watching. And on top of all of that, why are we holding these women to this standard that is not what we hold everybody else to? They're competitors. They are athletes. I ain't gonna lie to you. They would cook up half of y'all.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, why are we sitting here having this conversation about like these mothers are in less of a sport? Now, I get the whole WNBA don't make as much money. It's not as big as the NBA. I get all of that, right? But that don't mean she can't go out there and cook.
Hey, but that's the problem though. Everyone wants to make this something it's not. When you don't realize the eyes and attention that this rivalry in itself has created for women's basketball.
Oh my God, bro.
Women's basketball is at an all-time high right now because guess what? What was the one storyline that helped the NBA? What was the one college storyline that helped the NBA?
I'm about to say, is this Bird and Magic?
Thank you.
Is this Bird and Magic?
No one was sitting there talking that trash when Bird and Magic was going back and forth about it.
Hey, and this is the thing, right? This one makes it even more interesting. Let's forget, bro. Whoever would have won that game, that would have been their first collegiate championship, period.
Is this Bird and Magic, bro?
No one was saying anything about.
I don't know. Did Bird and Magic talk crazy to each other? I don't know if they talk crazy to each other. In the NBA, I know, but in college, was that a story?
all the time.
Nah, I think it wasn't until after they met though.
I know in the league. Well, no, I don't know. I don't know if it was a story, but what I say is this: the impact, like you're saying, is that it is that level of impact, because I've always said this. I said the WNBA is kind of like what the NBA was in the 80s. When you watch a WNBA game, there's some women out there that you look at and you say, oh, she could cook me.
She could cook.
And then there's some chicks out there, I'm not going to lie to you.
Shouldn't be out there.
You're not going to beat me. You can attach that WNBA to, you're not going to beat me. Like, yeah, there's a lot, and it's no disrespect. It's just where the league is, right? And when we get to the point where the WNBA is at a higher level of competition, where every single team has literally every player on there, where the worst player on there you can look at and be like, yeah, she gonna cook me. I can't compete with that.
Man, listen, if you all want to sit there and make this if they want to oversensitize this game and remove all the passion that these women are playing with right now, you're going to kill the product. And right now, I don't know if anyone's been listening, but the WNBA players themselves have been really, really passionate about how this game is marketed. Candace Parker had a great segment on Draymond Green's podcast talking about how the game is packaged. Stuff like that. Like, you got to really look at what we're asking these women to do. We're talking about them not getting paid enough and this, that, and the other. No one's watching. But when you put stuff on the court and you see stuff like this, well, people want to watch. People want to come. We're talking about it. People want to watch this. Let them play. Let them cook. And stop all this, the whole racial aspect of it. I hate that part, because guess what? When Caitlin was doing it, no one was saying anything. Now that it's getting done back to, no, we're going to leave that. It's a competitive sport. They were being competitive. She got shown up. Reese made sure she knew. Guess what? You know how you get her back? Whether it's next season in the NBA, next time you see her, you bust her tail on the court. That's how we know. That's how we know the game of basketball to be played. So shout out to them for just putting the world on notice, period. I don't think people are giving that enough credit. We're having an international conversation about WNBA. No, college women's basketball, period. College basketball. Imagine if we put this type of attention on them all the time.
And that's what it needs to be. I'm with you 100%. If they don't market these two, listen, Aces, shout out to them. They got Candace Parker. They got and Candace Parker speaking on just the fact that she won a championship.
Couldn't find her jersey, bro.
The fact that she's never had her own locker, the fact that she's never had a training facility. Now, I can almost deal with you ain't had your own locker, right? Because your brand isn't big enough to own a stadium where nobody else is going to play in. So you have to rent your time to stay. I can almost deal with that. You've never had a facility that you can't rent out or that you can't go into at 2 a.m. and get shots up? You've never had this ain't just the Sky, but I'm irritated more with it because of the Sky, because it's 2020 and 2021, 2022 when she was here. You know how many gyms are in Chicago?
Why couldn't they use the Wintrust Arena or Now Arena like the Windy City Bulls and stuff like that? Like, why? What is that about? Like, I don't know enough about the situation to like speak intelligently about it. I can't articulate that. So I'm really asking, like, a lot of these teams are connected to major NBA teams. Like, why don't they have access to these gyms the same way that the men do?
And that's my issue. How you ain't worked out some deal with the Bulls to say, hey, can we get keys? Oh, it's a key fob going to an athlete. They not about to be in there kicking and smoking stogies. It's a key fob going to an athlete that plays in your city. How are you not working out a deal with the Bulls or working out a deal with the Windy City Bulls or working out a deal with your local community centers that have gyms that are at the right dimensions where they can literally just go in there and work? How are we not doing this? So it's about the marketing. It's a problem with the WNBA. It's my biggest issue with the WNBA a lot of times because I am a fan of the WNBA. The WNBA don't seem to be a fan of the WNBA, though.
Yeah, we've been talking about that, and I think that's one of the bigger problems too, along with the scheduling, which
they did fix the scheduling this year. The scheduling is better. It's not nearly as many of those 2 p.m. games.
No. She mentioned it on that podcast. you had them competing against Super Bowl Sunday.
But see,
that
that was my
crazy.
problem. Yeah, no,
That was crazy. No, not even that. When she was in Chicago, they put on a game on Bears-Packers weekend. And Muggs was looking at me crazy for saying, "You not covering the sky?" Listen, it's Bears-Packers. It's Bears-Packers.
Let's be real. We're whoever is running that particular ship, who's ever making those schedules, is a disservice. Is a huge disservice to them. Their own detriment. They shot themselves in the foot multiple times in the same season. Let me ask you this: does anyone even know what game was played during the Super Bowl?
The Aces and was it the Aces and Sky when they was in the mid-season tournament?
Yeah.
Essentially a playoff game.
Yeah.
Like
I think
the game mattered. It was a big game.
It was the biggest game outside of the finals.
And I think they gotta fix it too now because of the simple fact that the NBA, the WNBA now is trying to, should I say super team era, because you got the Aces, the Liberty look like they're on their way.
They got there too quick.
Yeah,
that's the problem with the WNBA. That's the part that irritates me the most about the WNBA.
Hey,
you're trying to jump too quick. You know how long it took the NBA to get to a point. The NBA started in the early 1900s. Like we literally are talking about 40 years of basketball, basically, where all our best players come from, and the NBA started in the early 1900s, bro. Like, it takes time. You got to baby step. You can't just jump to where the NBA is now. You can't just, we should be able to do just that because we see them in. Nah, it's not going to work that way. You got to build this thing up. You got to market this thing the right way. And there's people that literally, I can't tell y'all how many times people have literally said, like doing Sky Live calls, I'm here because I have no idea where to find the game. That's crazy. I'm here because I don't know what channel the game is on.
Wow, I didn't even know that part. That's crazy.
Like it's about marketing. When All-Star Weekend was here, I was like, what's happening? When are they doing stuff? What's going on? Like, does anybody know? And I'm calling Hayes.
We had to go to AD.
Listen, I called AD. I called Hayes. Hayes literally is covering these mugs professionally at this point. Shout out to Hayes. And he was like, bro, I don't know what's happening. Like, they said it's supposed to be here, but it's not an open event. You got to be like a season ticket member to go to it. And it is what it is. And I was like, what the heck was that? Like, I
kid y'all not. I was taking my wife out to brunch. We went downtown. We went South Loop, Chicago. The bar that we were at overlooked was right next to McCormick Place. I looked down from the rooftop and I was like, "Oh, it's a WNBA event. What event is that?" She was like, "Yeah, how come you didn't know?" I was like, "I don't know. What event is that?" Looked it up. It was an All-Star game. I was having brunch next to the All-Star game. Didn't even know it was there. That's a problem.
And it's not because we ain't looking. I know that's what a lot of people are going to say. You got to be looking for it.
No,
we are.
You have to.
we do this for a living. We are looking.
You have to let us know. If you don't really let us know, I would have went. I'm looking at the little games that they're playing outside, the shooting contests and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that would have been hot. But my day was already planned because I didn't know.
Yeah.
It was there.
Nah,
it wasn't even in the arena. It should have been. It was across the street. Like, all the games that was across the street. You think it would have been blocked off and stuff like that? No, regular traffic going through.
Yeah.
Like, hey, but by the way, they still talking expansion team.
Expansion teams. They trying to add more teams. That's the answer. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. If the WNBA don't figure this out, like, if you don't see this, what's coming as a marketing god, if you don't see this, what's coming as your angel that's coming down to save you, close your doors.
Who's the commissioner of the WNBA?
Kathy Engelbert. Kathy Engel.
No disrespect.
That's her name. Kathy. Just Kathy Engel.
No disrespect to Kathy, but I think the real thing they need to do is go ahead and merge. Let Adam manage both. Let him hire staff, because the NBA is better at marketing that product and their product and the way that the WNBA is looking, the way the college is being played, like you want to know why it's going to take Storm? I just saw Caitlin shoot threes from the logo.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys who can't do that.
Bro, there's
guys. No, seriously, there's guys who can't do that. You mean to tell me now that we're making it? It ain't about the physicality. It's about the skill now.
They
It's
have
about
the
the skill.
ability to take off, bro.
Like Steph Curry don't dunk, he shoot threes, and we love it. I want to see Caitlin shoot threes. Somebody needs to place a call. Like that needs to happen. It's a bunch of people with a lot of money. They ain't got a whole lot of sense right now, and I ain't understanding it. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I hijacked that.
No, is it? No, I'm right there with you, bro. Honestly, like
go off.
It's mind blowing to think that they could miss this opportunity. And here's the thing: none of us sitting here right now are confident that they're going to take advantage of it. That's the problem. I don't know
an issue because right now, like I said, you're in a perfect situation to eat because you have you're quote unquote on one hand in the super team era with the teams that's formed already. But then not only that, the women that are coming out of the draft are legitimate ballers, bro.
This makes you miss Coby even more.
Aaliyah Boston, like even though she didn't win player of the year this year, dog. She's a dog.
This makes you miss Coby so much because I honestly feel like there's no way that this opportunity would be missed with people who were as invested as he was, and he had daughters that were definitely trying to make the league, right?
Yeah,
that's a tough thought to have.
I just think that there's going to be. Listen, I love Coby. No disrespect to Coby in the slightest. There's no bigger push than the NBA. Kobe's not bigger than the league that he helped grow. So the NBA is behind you. You just got to make the right decisions. That's all it is. You got to make the right decisions. The problem is we don't have the confidence for them to make the right decision. I ain't gonna lie to you. Integrity be dang. Tamper. If you don't put these mugs on two rival teams,
Tamper.
Yep. You ain't got to do it every year, right? Listen, we know we wasn't supposed to get D Rose.
Tamper.
Tamper.
Hey, the Knicks was not supposed to get Patrick Ewing.
Tamper. The Lakers wasn't supposed to get Magic. Tamper. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sitting here talking about the integrity of the game. You might not have a game.
Man, there ain't no integrity in this game. It's all lies. It's smoke and mirrors. People know what's going on. LeBron, hey, we know as soon as Clutch Sports gets involved, we know some roster changes is happening with LeBron's best friends. Tampa.
Hey, listen, I don't think it happens all the time, but I do think there are moments where the WNBA or where the NBA literally be like, storyline's too good to pass up. Can't let that one go. Derrick Rose comes home, wins an MVP. Can't let that one go. It's some stories that's just too good to be true.
They gave everybody their script.
Let's be real. If Caitlin gets some more help and they run that back, that's gonna be a game. And it's not like Iowa was weak, but I mean, LSU was clearly the better team.
Realistically, they could because Angel Reese is like that, but Fly J, first of all, got bars, but can get a bucket too.
Here's the wild part. Let me ask y'all this before we get up out of here. Are they making more money this offseason staying in college with these NIL deals than she will going to the WNBA?
I believe
there's no way she's not getting at least $1 million this offseason off of these NIL deals.
Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and maybe Fly J is, but I can't speak for everybody else.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. But guess what? That's the face of the WNBA. That's your next face. Like, legit, right now, I'll bet you more people know these three women's name than they know WNBA players.
It's a fact because listen. That's a
fact. I know a bunch of them. I can sit there and rattle off names to you all day because I sit there and I cover the league a little bit and we live call the games and we talk about these players all the time. And there's players that I really, but there's no way you can't tell me these three ladies' names right here. Absolutely. And I don't think they. What year is she? Is she a junior or sophomore? She'll be a sophomore going into next year, right?
Who?
Angel Reese.
Oh no. She won't, because I think she. I don't want to get it wrong, because I think she played. I think she.
No, she'll be a senior. She'll be a senior.
Yeah, because
she'll be a senior.
She played for Maryland 2 years, and I think she got hurt.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know if she got the year of eligibility. If they also get the year of eligibility for the COVID year. I didn't know if she got anything with that. But man, listen, like, fam, that's your future, and they might be able to make more money staying in college. It's crazy to say, but hey, man, we appreciate y'all for showing love to the channel, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always, man. Hey, I know it started a little late today. Hopefully this won't be the case tomorrow and everything will work perfectly. But the Daily Show is back, baby. We back in the building. And we got a soundboard.
Let's get it. I love it.
We'll hopefully be live from 9 to 10 every day. That's the goal here. But if we have technical difficulties, we'll be live whenever we can get to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Make sure to listen on the podcast app if you missed any of it as well. If you're listening on the podcast side, leave a 5-star review, man. Don't be a bum. As always, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again, joined by the pettiest man alive, Mr. P Kid, and of course, the man formerly known as Ringo J. Stefan the Don. Hey, yo, Chicago! Y'all stay safe out there, man. Peace.